What's up, gang? Welcome to the Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman WrestleMania 39 review show. My name is Mike Wellman. Thank you for hitting that play button. We appreciate you here as always. Got a lot to get to on this episode since we are here to break down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. There has been perhaps the biggest story in or out of the ring in the history of the ring. And joining me to help get to all of the WrestleMania 39 results and news about the WWE sale is the notorious KRS, aka Wrestling Fan Kris. What's up, Kris?
What's going on? What a time.
Can you believe it? WWE has been sold, kind of, merged, acquired.
For no money.
Amalgamized.
Yes.
They have been acquired by Endeavor, and they will be merging with the UFC into a new company that will be run basically by Vince McMahon. So, as Rick Rude said when he showed up on Nitro, oh, what a difference a day makes, folks. And you can pick which day you want, because a week ago, we were talking about this being Triple H's first WrestleMania in control. Well, that idea is completely up in smoke, right? And then even the day after the high we were on from WrestleMania Saturday, after, spoiler, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn won the tag team titles, getting that news, that CNBC story that broke on WrestleMania Sunday, that WWE was about to be acquired by Endeavor. And then on Monday, we get the official news, Monday morning, WWE is going to be getting acquired by Endeavor, and will be forming a new publicly traded company that will include the WWE and the UFC. Vince McMahon on CNBC, this Clark Gable-esque,
oh God,
evil supervillain. He looked like Clark Gable got stung by bees.
Yeah, what happened to him when he was gone? Like, oh boy.
So, Evil Vince is back, and he's in charge of WWE again. So like I said, oh, what a difference a day makes. Then we're going to get to the Raw after Mania, which I had high hopes for. Unfortunately, it was the worst Raw ever. # worst Raw ever. So we got a lot to get to, but before we go any farther, that's right, we need you to be kind, subscribe, watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. If you're watching the YouTube version, hello, hit like and subscribe to the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. You already know where you can find this podcast, because you already found this podcast, whether it was on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, Audible, wherever you find your podcasts, you already found the podcast. Just the podcast. That's all this is. This is just the podcast. And you can find Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman on Twitter at WWrestlingPod, Watch Wrestling Pod on Facebook and YouTube. And yeah, be kind, subscribe, watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, and we won't have any problems. So yes, it was a busy weekend, was it not, Kris?
It was. I mean, lots of wrestling. That's what I want to talk about first. No, but man,
yes,
Saturday and Sunday, what a difference a day makes. Just like you said, unbelievable.
Yes, so the news came out Sunday, CNBC reporting that WWE was getting purchased. I'm saying purchased, but there wasn't really this big, large transfer of money. They basically are getting merged with the UFC to to form a new company that might be called TKO something or other. It might be something else, but this company will be basically publicly traded, owned by Endeavor, which owns a lot of other things. But these two things, the WWE and UFC, are going to break off to form a new company. Vince McMahon is going to be the executive chairman of this new company. So, and then you will still have Nick Khan as the president of the UFC, of the WWE. Maybe Nick Khan should be the president of the UFC. No, Nick Khan, president of the WWE. Triple H, still creative control, if you want to call it that, over WWE, head of creative. Dana White still running the UFC. Basically, Vince McMahon at the top, folks. And yeah, we saw the first moves on the chessboard basically right away, because the Raw after Mania, which we'll get to, some would say was the #worst Raw ever. So Vince McMahon already back in control. He was back in Gorilla on Raw, making last minute changes according to multiple outlets, including Fightful Select, ripping up scripts, telling people who were already in the ring that their segment got canceled. So we'll get to that at the end of the show. But yes, what do you think, Kris? WWE has been sold. What do you think about the new owner of WWE being Endeavor, of all of the possible suitors that have been discussed over the past few months?
I know, it's like, I really thought it would be to a different company where everyone would just get paid. Like you said, it wasn't really a cash purchase. So the stockholders, they didn't get any cash. They couldn't cash out now. None of their shares paid out because just a merger. And I'm just really surprised. Like, I really thought, why did I think this? But I really thought Vince McMahon, when he sold the company, he just was going to want to sell it and get like $6 billion, and that was going to be his like coup de grace, like his final little thing. Like, I got $6 billion for a thing that I built. But I guess being in power and control is more important to him. That's what I think immediately.
So Vince McMahon is back in power and control, and just Vince McMahon, first of all, needs to be given credit as a god tier grifter. Okay. Oh. And that should be one of our t-shirts, I think. Just imagine like cursive letters, god tier grifter.
I absolutely love it.
Right?
Yes.
Because that's what Vince McMahon is here. He was coming back only to facilitate the sale of the company against everyone's wishes. He was coming back. And now he did facilitate that sale to a new company that he will be in charge of. He left that part out.
Exactly. That's exactly what he was doing. Just God GTG.
So Vince McMahon's ownership, where he owned, I don't know, around 30%, let's say, of WWE, maybe more. He's going to own about half of that, right, of the new company, because the new company is going to be 51% owned by Endeavor and 49% owned by the WWE, the shareholders who own WWE now. So Vince is going to own, 19% or something like that of the new company. This new company, you've got the UFC coming in, being valued by its own company at about $12 billion. WWE coming in, getting valued at about $9.6 billion, something like that. So this new company is going to be worth, according to themselves, again, about $21 billion. So that means Vince McMahon's, he's going to have something like he's going to be worth $3 billion, something like that, with his, once the shares go to the new company. So,
man.
So yeah, so he is going to be running the new company. Triple H will still be doing, to the extent that he is now, creative, which, like I said, what a difference a day makes when Vince McMahon is now in Gorilla with a headset on since we last had a podcast. So, but yes, same company now, WWE, UFC. I'm sure we're going to see some crossover there. Maybe we'll see a few elbow drops in the UFC fight, maybe a couple barbed wire bats, in the UFC. I think we're going to see some, just people on screen on each show probably. Think Conor McGregor showing up on Raw, maybe before a fight.
Yeah.
Maybe Roman Reigns in the Bloodline doing the stereotypical sitting cage side, where they're inexplicably only there for 5 minutes of the night, but they get all the footage of them sitting cage side because this fight is so important that even so-and-so came out to see it, So a lot of that kind of stuff I think we're going to see. But yes, we will break down at the end of the show a little bit more about the new era that we are in for WWE. But yes, all of this came during the biggest and most successful WrestleMania that WWE has ever had. So I was really into this WrestleMania. I thought night one was great overall. Nearly every match I thought was above average. And then night two, even as night two was getting going with Brock and Omos, I even was looking at the card online and I was thinking to myself, they kind of stacked this show up so night one would generally be better. I didn't know how night two could live up to night one looking at the card unless there were some serious surprises or unless they were just planning on really knocking it out of the park with Cody and Roman, which they didn't.
Exactly. That's when I look at the card too for night two. It's like, well, at least Cody's going to triumph. That's like everything's resting on that. Whatever happens, it'll be fine. And then Cody will win. It'll be a great scene. And then that just didn't happen either.
A lot of people after Cody lost at WrestleMania, spoiler in the main event, acting like that's what they thought was going to happen the whole time. And I was genuinely surprised by Cody losing. So we'll get to that. We kind of want to go through each night and each card, each match a little bit here for WrestleMania. Like I said, we will undoubtedly be discussing the WWE sale further. It's the biggest story in the history of wrestling. So it's going to continue on. It's going to be probably the topic of conversation on probably every episode we have for quite a while. Yep. So as more and more news comes out and things change in WWE. So let's get into WrestleMania, shall we? All right, so we had Kevin Hart giving us the cold open at WrestleMania with his cold as balls robe on, and then taking that off into a Hollywood tuxedo, Oscars type tuxedo he was wearing. Then they have this cold open guy that every year, for some reason, the cold open voiceover guy is sentient and he's got his own thoughts and opinions on things. I don't know. He's like a recurring character every year. So hopefully he doesn't take over.
Maybe it'll be a budget cut for the new sale. We'll see.
Yeah. So night one of WrestleMania 39 from SoFi Stadium kicked off with Austin Theory defending the WWE United States Championship against John Cena. Well, actually, the show kicked off with The Miz and Snoop Dogg in the ring to welcome the crowd. The Miz was in a very shimmering suit. Both nights, The Miz had shimmering suits, but yeah, that thing was shiny. So like I said, the opening match was Theory versus Cena. As we discussed on the preview show, the build for this one wasn't really heavy, with Cena really only appearing on WWE TV once in the lead up to Mania. So Theory walks down the extremely long ramp. Corey Graves notes that this was actually Michael Cole's 22nd WrestleMania, the most out of anybody. Wow. Congratulations to Michael Cole. Somebody should go check on him. Now that Vince is back.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, we had a good 9 months of Michael Cole. Now I'll be back to Vince McMahon.
He was going through it too during the broadcast. He was the new Michael Cole. Then he was having old Michael Cole. I could hear it. And I almost said it. I almost said, is Vince controlling this man again?
Especially night two. You could really see it.
It's like Michael Cole is like the Winter Soldier. You have to have the combination to unlock him. And I think Vince was in the headset giving him the combination and the code. And he's just like, no, don't do it. Butterfly. Just local medical facility. It's just like turned. He's on when Vince is back on the headset. All of a sudden you're going to hear, yes, boss. Yes, boss.
Uh-huh.
So, no, poor Michael Cole, but it was his 22nd WrestleMania, so that's good. That's a lot. So John Cena's entrance was great. It featured a bunch of Make-A-Wish kids whose wish it was to go to WrestleMania. So that did look really fun for those kids, and good for John Cena for doing that for them. So John Cena saunters down to the ring the whole time. I was worried for Cena as he sauntered down to the ring. I thought he was going to bust some kneecaps open or something for one, or just run out of energy, because that was a long ramp. That ramp was like 2 weeks long. At least. Yeah. So this match was okay. There was a STF from Cena. I don't even know if he did 5 moves of Doom. He did a 5-knuckle shuffle. Theory did tap out to the STF while the ref was knocked down, and hit a low blow. And then he hit Cena with an A-Town down and got the pin to retain the U.S. title. And that's it. John Cena's in and he's out.
I mean, honestly, what a...
Pin me, pay me.
I mean, yeah, but still, if you're gonna take the fall anyway, why doesn't Theory win that more decisively? I just don't get it. That was kind of like, come on, man. Theory doesn't look great after that. He fucking he cheated to win, and he looked like kind of like a baby, not a baby, like a loser. He should have just won. That's all I'm saying.
John Cena joined that JOB squad at WrestleMania 39. Looking up at the lights.
Good for him, and I appreciate Cena for doing that. But maybe that should have been our first inkling of Vince McMahon's touch on the show, because I don't think Triple H would have had that. Triple H was booking Theory a lot stronger than that. So I don't know. Now I'm getting conspiracy theories. I think Vince was in it the whole time. He kind of knew what was going on, and his influence was felt, I think, more than we think.
Maybe they had to get Cena in and out of there so he and Vince could fly back to Mass, so they could go to Saugus and go to Kowloon for dinner. Maybe there was a table reserved at Kowloon that night.
That might be the reason why he was opening the show. You're right.
Kowloon and Saugus. John Cena wearing the Kowloon. I think they were Dunks sneakers he was wearing that I couldn't get over it when we were watching that match, because wrestling fan Kris was over my house for night 1 of WrestleMania, and I just could not take my eyes off of these shoes until I finally saw somebody posted online what they were, the Kowloon Nikes.
Yeah, and he definitely, I mean, Cena looks fine. He can still go and wrestle, and I actually appreciate the when he was about to do the 5-knuckle shuffle and everyone liked it, and you could see in his face that he was like, wow, people they're not booing me. Thank you for that. And I thought that was pretty fun moment. But man, Cena he doesn't look like John Cena anymore. It's weird.
He looks like Chris Smith.
I guess that's, yeah. I mean, he's going bald. He's not tanning. I don't care. Whatever. I like John Cena. I like him to be back more, but I think I like Peacemaker more than John Cena in my life now.
I think so too, yes.
Yeah.
So, and Eagly as well, more than John Cena.
That's right.
Next up, we had the men's 4-way tag team showcase match, and this ended up actually being a true showcase match because they let almost everybody in this match have a really good moment or two.
I thought it was great. It was one of my favorite matches of the weekend. I think everyone looked good. One
of my favorite things from this weekend was Titus on the call here. He was on one match for each night of WrestleMania. This tag team match, he was great. He really added a lot to this match. I don't know why they don't use Titus more often.
Yeah.
I think
oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I just think he had a lot of energy and like I said, added a lot to the commentary on this one.
Yeah, the energy was definitely there. You're right, and I think they should add more quote unquote active wrestlers in commentary a little more, because I think they bring a different aspect to it, and it's a little fun. It's refreshing. Even if Titus O'Neil says some, which he didn't, but even if he says some weird stuff or some off-kilter stuff, at least he's bringing a different perspective, and he has this fun newness to him. Because I mean, I like Corey Graves, but he has a shtick. Cole's been around for so long, and it gets a little stale. So
this match was a ton of fun. I'm saying a ton because it probably was a ton. Some of these guys that were in the match, easily a ton in the ring. They did a lot of cool spots. All the big guys at one point faced off against each other. They did a Tower of Doom spot where Ricochet actually jumped onto the group of people to knock down the tower. Strowman did a dive from the top rope. You got to give him credit for that, for leaving the ground for a moment.
He took that rolling German from Gable too, right? Ooh.
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me of the incredible feat of strength by Chad Gable in this one.
Oh,
that was great. They got this guy on the roster. What are they doing?
It's crazy.
I didn't even have that one in my notes. Thanks for reminding me. That was a good spot. So Angelo Dawkins took out Braun Strowman when he was in the middle. He was in the middle of the Midnight Meat Train run. Mm-hmm. So pretty much everyone had a moment in this match. Giant shooting star press from Ricochet. We had a lot of top rope to the outside. There was almost a contest going on. I mean, between Charlotte and Ricochet, and there was moonsaults like crazy. Even a couple big tope con hilos.
That's right.
So, but yes, Ricochet, just the world's largest shooting star press, I think. Besides that one from Commander on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
At Ring of Honor. But so Street Profits won this one after Montez Ford hit a frog splash onto Ricochet, who was kind of tied up in the knees of Angelo Dawkins. Dawkins rolled him up for the pin. Like I said, just a really fun match full of awesome spots. Otis almost did a high spot, but I think it was Ricochet who kicked him in the head and finished that one. So then next up we had Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul's entrance, reminiscent of Shawn Michaels coming in at WrestleMania 12, coming in on a zip line. And what did you think of Logan Paul's entrance here?
I liked it because I think it looks like he was playing it up as he knows that he's kind of a moron. You know, he's playing the bad guy in that one. If he was playing it like it was like legit and he thought he was really like awesome for doing this and like people are going to love this, I think it would have been way worse. But he kind of was playing it up like he was healing out. Like he knows he's kind of a goofball. And I like that part about it.
When he's coming down on the zip line, he said, "I got a zip line for my birthday."
That can't be. You have to be a jerk. He must know because he can't be serious.
Just so in character for Logan Paul. Except with him, it's not a character. He is actually just a immature, self-centered narcissist. That's really all his character is, and it's because that's who he is. Just the type of guy that thinks you care about anything to do with his birthday. You're an adult. Your birthday does not matter to anyone. You know, like I don't care about your birthday. I don't care what you got for your birthday. I don't care that it is your birthday. I don't care how old you are. I don't care that you're alive. Okay? Is that going too far? Did I go too far?
No. I don't care that he's alive either.
I don't care what you got for your birthday. You know, it's just such a self-centered, attention-seeking idiot, this Logan Paul. But I mean, it's sad how good of a wrestler he is, though. We have to say that. Now that I've called him an idiot and a narcissist and self-centered, I have to now say that he's one of the best new wrestlers I've ever seen, right? You have to say that. I mean, who in their first 3 matches or whatever that he's had, who has, granted, they were probably giving him the specific spots to do, but I mean, we'll get into the match, but it's a lot. Logan Paul is up there as far as prospects go.
Yeah, he's good.
But yes, back to the entrance. So he had somebody with him. He was accompanied by someone in a Prime Energy drink mascot suit. So table that one, put a bookmark there. Somebody came out, and the gears were working as far as who I thought it was going to be Seth Rollins when it first happened, but then I started to think like this is WrestleMania. Obviously, Seth Rollins probably has a big Mania entrance, you know. So Seth Rollins has a conductor from the Los Angeles Symphonic Conglomerate Association of Orchestral Conductors conducting the crowd. Mm-hmm. And the crowd, you could tell they didn't know what this guy was doing. He was conducting them, and they did not know these average Joes attending WrestleMania.
I was watching it too, and I was like, I don't know. If I was in the crowd, I would not know when I'm supposed to sing the song. I don't know conducting. Sorry, buddy. He was doing a great job. He was really into it, but I was lost.
Rollins came out in an outfit that looked like something that Beyonce or Rihanna would wear to like the Met Gala. I don't know. Just a weird, gigantic red thing that he was wearing.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So this match was good. Logan Paul, like I said, once again, showing an understanding of wrestling techniques and athleticism that is hard to overstate. So he did a pretty decent standing moonsault. There was he missed a moonsault off the top rope, landed flush on his stomach. There was a spot where they were doing like roll throughs, like near fall roll throughs, that I thought was great.
Yep.
Especially again for someone who's had like 3 or 4 wrestling matches. It's just unbelievable.
He's very smooth. Yeah, it is unbelievable.
Like he obviously has a few things to work on, but literally the only thing that Logan Paul is missing is the actual time in the ring. That's the only thing you can see that he doesn't have. He's trying everything. He's looking better than most people who, in their first few matches, even in their first few years. And no, it's just A plus, I guess you could say, for Logan Paul.
Yeah.
So Seth Rollins, goes for either a stomp or he's across the ring from Logan Paul and he's running at Logan Paul. And then the damn energy drink mascot pulls Logan Paul out of the ring to safety. And then Logan Paul reveals that it's actually KSI in the Prime energy drink costume. This I thought was great.
It really, I liked it too.
This was awesome because it's like they didn't do a thing where Seth Rollins goes over. They revealed it to you, and it's KSI, and it was KSI this whole time. So this was funny. And so they beat up Seth Rollins, smashed him into the post. Then they set him up on the Spanish announce table, which inexplicably, no one around this table. Spanish announce team was gone.
Yeah, they were just gone, yep.
So Logan goes up to the top rope for a huge splash. Paul spits a big blast of his energy drink. Right as he takes flight, Rollins pulls KSI onto the table, and Logan Paul lands a frog splash on his buddy, KSI, who was in the middle of filming a selfie video when Rollins pulled him down onto the table for the spot here, which was just great.
It was very great. They all did it. The timing was pretty good, too. It was very good.
Oh, the timing was perfect.
It was so good, yeah.
So we get in the ring, and Logan Paul kicked out of a pedigree. That happened.
Ooh, Vince McMahon. No, I'm just kidding.
He also hit a GTS. No big deal.
Yeah, so what?
Logan Paul went for, I don't know what it was going to be, a coast-to-coast. Rollins countered with a big super kick and then a stomp. Seth Rollins defeats Logan Paul, getting the win by pinfall. Great match.
Another pretty good match. Like now we're talking night one. We had C and John Cena, and then a fantastic tag team match, and then this great match. So it's off to a great start.
Then we had Damage Control versus Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. So the babyface team got a pretty cool Sin City style grayscale raining effect and a cool intro video for their entrance, like the Sin City comic book style video. Then this was an okay match. We had a nice moonsault onto the outside, like I was saying about the moonsault contests. Io Sky throwing her name in the mix with that one. Trish and Lita got to hit their signature moves, a bulldog, a chick kick, a lead assault. So,
yeah, she did that. They did that spot where Trish got to do her like handstand leg scissors, but from the outside this time onto the. That was a pretty good spot. Remember, like she runs over while Bailey was on the rope with that thing from the outside. Does that handstand leg scissors and drops around to the people on the outside. That was a good spot. I enjoyed it.
So Lynch, Stratus, and Lita win after an avalanche manhandle slam by Becky Lynch onto Bailey for the pinfall. Like I said, not a bad match here. I would call this like a Legends match. Like if you think about it, there wasn't really a lot of like Legends matches.
Yeah.
Right? Because the McMahons are all, we thought the McMahons were all kind of off the screen here at WrestleMania. There's no Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. There's no Undertaker. We had John Cena come back. But this, I would say, was kind of like that Legends match where it's just the Legends are out here. They're going to hit their finishers, the ones who still can.
Which is fine. That's fine with me.
Yeah, so next up we had Rey versus Dominic, which good match here. The video package showing the build was great, too. It really told the story of Dom being turned slowly by the Judgment Day and Rey losing control of his son week by week. Because this is how it happens. You don't lose control of your child overnight. It's happens slowly. And this is what they showed in this video package, which then led to Dom going to prison. And then we had scenes of him getting pulled out of his prison cell to come to WrestleMania. Then we get the prison van, and Dom gets pulled out of the van. What do you think of Dominic's prison Dom entrance at WrestleMania?
It was great. Like that's that's the kind of stuff I like at WrestleMania. It was a big spectacle, but it was also kind of fun. It goes with the character. It really actually got me more hyped for the match. So that's all I can ask for.
And I apologize for not knowing everybody that was accompanying Dom to the ring, but I definitely recognized Dan Barry as one of the prison guards there.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. Going from he did a moonsault onto your chair once.
Yeah, I got Dan Barry, Tope Night 1, Dan Barry, Tope Night 2 last year of the 2-night war.
Now he's escorting Dom to the ring in Los Angeles. It's amazing.
Yeah. A lot of wrestlers were in Los Angeles for that one, so it doesn't surprise me, but definitely Dan Barry keeping the crowd in check for prison Dom as he walked to the ring with like a old reminiscent mask of the Rey Mysterio Phantom,
Yeah, that was good too. Mm-hmm.
Bad Bunny was on commentary for this one. Espanol. The match was good. Rey Mysterio's entrance. Yes, Rey had Snoop Dogg driving the lowrider. This was cool. Rey just looked cool in this one. Like just the scene where they're still backstage and Snoop is in the car and Rey Mysterio is just sitting in the car. Like it actually looked natural. Like he's just dropping him off and Rey Mysterio is just hanging out in the lowrider today. Like he just looked so cool sitting there. He didn't look out of place at all or awkward or anything. And then this mask that Rey Mysterio had, I thought was pretty cool. It was like a helmet mask.
Yeah, all the presentation was good. Yeah, he looked natural. The mask was a little different. It did look cool.
Yep. So during the match, Rey took off his belt and whipped Dominic, who deserved it.
You got to do that. Yeah.
Michael Cole let us know that Dominic definitely deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Cole was really biased in this one against Dominic.
He really does not. Yeah, I wonder what happened to Michael Cole in his past.
Dominic splashed a drink on his sister, Aaliyah, who was ringside. Dominic is such a good heel. I mean, at one point, he had this gigantic stadium full of people booing him. The whole crowd just booing him.
I know, it is. Imagine going from... he's not The Rock, because but like being such like a boring like babyface guy who with no personality to being this guy... It's crazy. Yeah.
He's come a long way. And so Rey gave his wife, Angie, a kiss at ringside. This family feud. That was one of the things that I felt Michael Cole was kind of forced to say. That was one of the Winter Soldier cues for me was all of a sudden Michael Cole's just saying family feud. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I feel like somebody's telling him to say, like, not like family feud, say it. Family feud. No, you didn't say it. This family feud that we got going on. It's like, was that good? I said it.
Yes, boss.
Yes, boss. Like, he's just back there saying the same word until Michael Cole says it.
That's definitely what happens. Oh.
Like you didn't say it. Don't act like you can't continue on until you say it. Family feud. So then we had the Judgment Day came out. Damian Priest, Finn Balor, they get involved, But then they get run off by Legado del Fantasma, which is now a part of the Latino World Order. In case you didn't know.
Hey, whatever. I like the Legado del Fantasma, so hopefully this means they'll be more prominent.
I like the LWO.
I think it's gonna be great.
So Dom went to use like a chain. Bad Bunny runs over, grabs the chain, allowing Rey Mysterio to hit the 619 and a frog splash to pin his son at WrestleMania. The Hall of Famer, Rey Mysterio, beats his son. Thank you.
You've been waiting for it. I'm glad you got that. I'm glad you experienced that for yourself.
It happened. Rey Mysterio won. This was just a moment in time that I could have distilled forever. Because this was perfect. Perfect booking. Dominic he's just, and then the thing I thought was funny is the Mysterio family gets in the ring, right? And this is a big weekend for Rey Mysterio. He's going in the Hall of Fame. That usually only happens to you once, if ever. And so the Mysterio family's in the ring and Dominic is on the outside with the Judgment Day just like defeated. I was like, oh, I mean, it'd be nice if he could get in the ring with his dad to celebrate. Like it's his actual dad, This is all a work. No. But yes, overall, great job by all Mysterios involved in this. But the right Mysterio won.
Yes.
So then we had Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, which, dare I say, stole the show on night 1 of WrestleMania. So
it did. Oh, yeah.
It was tough. Both main events of night 1 and night 2 were very epic, and they were both awesome. But there were a couple matches that I thought were great, and this was one of them. So what a match. This was one of the best matches at WrestleMania either night. Could be considered the match of the night. The tag team main event was great as well, like I mentioned, but this was just an incredible match. I would say this was a 5-star match.
I think it was too, and I would like to take back the negative things I said about Charlotte in these past shows, because she really can go in that ring and deliver.
Yes, and you see that more when she's got someone in there like Rhea Ripley who can also pick people up and move them in the same manner that she can, because not everyone has that like super strength that Rhea and Charlotte have,
Good point. Yep.
And Charlotte was I thought she was perfect in this one,
Absolutely.
She's a babyface coming into WrestleMania to lose, but she's kind of a heel because everybody wants Rhea to win and have her moment, even though she's a heel. So I thought Charlotte did a great job of being like, she was like Randy Orton as a babyface, just kind of coming out and being like, yeah, whatever, I'm the babyface tonight. Sure.
Yes, very good. Yeah, sure. Exactly.
Like, sure, fine, I'm the babyface. I won't be that much of a, heel. So yes, lots of chops in this one. Suplexes. Charlotte took a few bumps from suplexes that were just brutal. Landed right on her face on one of them.
Oh.
Like she landed. I watched that one over and over again where she landed on her face. It was like she was trying to land perfectly on her face. That's what it seemed. That's what it looked like.
Hey, maybe she was. She's that gifted of an athlete.
I think she was like, this one needs to be right on the face. So this one definitely picked up in pace. There were a lot of counters, near falls, like I said, a ton of suplexes. Really good ending to this one. 3 riptides by Rhea Ripley. So many near falls. Back and forth, trading shots again. Rhea gets to the ropes during a figure 4. Flair gets Ripley up to the second rope, picks Rhea up, more chops. Rhea knocks Charlotte's head into the corner post, basically knocks her out on the corner post. She's out. Ripley picks her up for an avalanche riptide to get the win, to get the 3 count. Hashtag and new SmackDown Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. Eat, sleep, and bleed. This was awesome.
Yes, and I'm glad she won. Everything that... I know it's not hasn't had long of a story, but dare I say that was exactly how the Cody Roman match should have went, but whatever.
This was great. And Rhea just was amazing. Even at the end, she's just going nuts holding the belt. This was awesome. This was great.
She's definitely a superstar, and looking forward to her long reign. Well, you know what? No, what's really sad about it? Who knows if she's going to have a long reign, because if Vince is truly taking over, he doesn't like that, you know?
We had, for one night, we had this, whatever this is. This was. So, like I said, hashtag and new SmackDown Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. So next, we got a surprise match. And during a segment with The Miz and Snoop Dogg back out, Michael Cole's best friend, Pat McAfee, made a surprise return. So we ended up having an impromptu match between Pat McAfee and The Miz. Then during the match, The Miz goes over and starts jaw-jacking to George Kittle in the crowd. He hops the barricade, lays The Miz out with a clothesline. This was a decent clothesline from this gentleman.
Hey.
This guy, he's a big dude, too.
He was a big dude. It was probably a pretty solid hit.
He looks more coordinated out there than Gronk did. You know?
Oh, yeah. Gronk's a goofball, so.
So, yeah. He lays The Miz out with a clothesline. McAfee wins the match. So, there you go. There was some time to kill there if you had to go.
Thanks, Miz.
To the bathroom or something. So then we ended up with the main event of WrestleMania Saturday. KO and Sami Zayn versus the Usos for the undisputed tag team championship.
I think so, yeah.
This was a great match. These guys brought it. This was a main event, WrestleMania main event worthy match.
Absolutely.
Crowd was into it like few other matches in the history of WrestleMania. The crowd was into this one, into the whole story. No one is more over in wrestling than Sammy and Kevin, right? You have to say.
Absolutely. Definitely, yeah. Especially after that.
These guys just brawled for a half an hour in this match. And the Usos, it's kind of, they don't get enough credit, the Usos, for these matches. But they are one of the best tag teams of all time, for sure.
Absolutely. They really don't, because now that I'm thinking about all the tag matches in the past I'm thinking of that I really enjoyed, it's always involving the Usos, no matter who they're facing. I'm like, wow, that was a great match. This is a great match. So you're right. Of all time, sure.
Sammy hit Jay with a brain buster on the apron.
Then
Swanton from KO onto Jimmy Uso. That was for a near fall. Sammy hit a Uso splash. Sammy Uso. He had
great.
Uso splash on Jimmy. That was actually a pretty good splash.
He's good.
Michael Cole says El Generico would be proud. And then Corey Graves says that he's glad that guy retired and never made it to WrestleMania.
See, that I like it. Now that I'm thinking maybe Vince isn't on the headset.
I at least hope El Generico was watching.
Somewhere in a retirement home or wherever he's at. Yeah.
Whatever he's doing. So Usos double super kicking Sammy going through all the different stages of being a man near death that he does,
Yes.
When he's just acting like he's been concussed 40 times and he's just wants more, that is that thing that he's perfect at.
Yes.
Where he's just like I said, near death, and he just will not stop. So these guys put on such a great match. Double Uso splash onto Kevin Owens. He kicks out. Michael Cole went nuts for that.
He should.
Ending comes after KO tags in Sammy. Sammy hits 3 haluva kicks on Jey Uso. And this was great. So there was one moment here when Sami Zayn is delivering, I think it was the last haluva kick when he's about to pin Jey Uso. And Sammy's face is all red. His long red hair is flowing behind him. There might as well have been flames behind him. His hair was just blowing. This was a post-apocalyptic, this was the moment for Sami Zayn, right? Just he didn't look he just looked like a man with a purpose. Like, I am now going to finish this. Just amazing. And yes, he did. He got the third Haluva kick on Jey Uso for the pin. New tag team champions crowned in the main event of WrestleMania Saturday. Just an amazing moment here.
Just like we wanted. So now after night one, we're like, all right, this is going exactly how it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, the bloodline losing this one. I think that's going to mean something for night two.
One shoe has dropped.
Uh-huh.
The other one will inevitably drop tomorrow at night two.
It has to.
Now, this was great. You had a lot of great matches. There was just, even optimism, dare I say, for remember we were talking, how many times I said the word optimism on that podcast where we were talking about Triple H is now in charge, this kind of had that same sentiment to me of like, Austin Theory is beating the legend, Sammy and Kevin are getting the main event spot that they have rightfully deserved for so long and are able to put on the performance that they're capable of, along with the Usos. Charlotte and Rhea Ripley get to go out there and have a match of the year candidate.
Yep.
So much great stuff from night one. They even got to throw in all the stuff that I don't really care about, like The Miz.
Yeah, exactly.
So then on to night two.
Oh boy.
So like I said earlier in the show, WrestleMania Sunday, we learned about the CNBC report that Endeavor was going to be acquiring the WWE and merging it into a new company with the UFC. So we knew this was the big story going into WrestleMania night two. The kind of backdrop, right? So Kevin Hart once again delivered the cold open as he did on night one. Another opening segment from The Miz and Snoop. And the first match we get is Brock Lesnar versus Omos. So in this one, it happened. Spoiler alert, Brock Lesnar delivered an F5 to the giant Omos.
We were wondering if that was going to happen, and there you go.
So that was the end. But so Brock tries to get Omos down. He cannot do it. Omos at one point tosses Brock. Just tossed him. Like, I've seen people struggle with a small bag of potatoes more than Omos struggled. He threw Brock to the point where it was just, there was almost no resistance. Like, I bet he could have thrown Brock farther. It
definitely felt that way, yes.
Maybe we should have some type of a challenge where Omos has to see how far he can throw Brock Lesnar. Kind of like a shot put.
A Brock put.
Yeah. Just the way Brock just went through the air, just like a man not in control of his own body. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Big bear hug by Omos. Don't these guys know Brock Lesnar has been in so many bear hugs by the Big Show?
So simply the Big Show, yes.
Do you think you're the first guy to try to bear hug Brock Lesnar? So Brock does, in fact, take Omos to Suplex City. Few big suplexes to the giant Omos. Then we get a very large F5 onto Omos. And then Brock pins him. And we are out of here.
Yeah, that's exactly what we needed for that match, though. If you're going to have it, that's fine.
People weren't sure about Brock's status after WrestleMania. After this match, what was he gonna be sticking around for? And we'll get to that because the next night he came out on Raw and almost tag teamed with Cody, but we'll get to that. So next up we had at WrestleMania Night 2, the women's 4-way tag team showcase match. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Natalya and Shotzi versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville versus Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. We got kind of a Ken and Ryu inspired gi setup for Baszler and Rousey here, I think. It was probably something to do with Ken and Ryu.
I think so.
This match was all right. Rousey and Baszler won with an armbar from Rousey on to Shotzi. There were some okay spots in this match.
Yeah.
Wasn't really the match of the night or anything, but
no, it was good to see Chelsea Green though in action on WrestleMania.
Chelsea Green making her WrestleMania debut. Good for her.
Absolutely.
All right, next up, Lashley came out, who Lashley won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on WrestleMania SmackDown, which was WrestleMania Friday. So he came out just to the top of the stage with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal trophy. And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Titus was back out on commentary for the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match between Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. Okay, so we got to talk about this match because this match was incredible.
Absolutely.
This was definitely one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen. If you have like a big bowl of wrestling matches, it's in there.
Yeah.
Floating right at the top. It's like if you have like Cookie Crisps or something and each one is like a legendary wrestling match, this one is now in there.
Well said.
Yeah. So there were so many chops in this match. Titus was even breaking it down for us. Titus was even letting us know that it just rips the skin off your chest, these chops.
Yeah, thanks, Titus.
So Sheamus nearly beat... Sheamus needs to be reined in with these beats of the Bowdrin or whatever they're called. He almost beat Drew McIntyre's chest in. He hit him with 29 of these thumps to the sternum. I was completely out of control. And
they were all thumps too. That wasn't hold it back.
So we got Sheamus at one point hit a white noise and a Celtic cross on Gunta.
Oh.
Der Ring General Gunta, as what's his name? Let us know. Ludwig Kaiser.
Kaiser, yeah.
Not Ludwig Borga. So Gunther kicked out of that one from Sheamus, that combination. Drew McIntyre hit a tope con hilo on Sheamus, a la The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25.
I mean, it was pretty wild, yeah. That was crazy.
So this caused Titus to lose his mind, this tope from Drew, which was worthy of it.
I mean, McIntyre's a huge person to do that. Whoa.
Gunta powerbombs Sheamus onto Drew, then powerbombs Drew for the win. This is how the match won.
That's how you do it. Gunther is great.
Yeah, so he just came out of nowhere. There was one point in this match, Drew McIntyre, I don't even know if it was Gunther or Sheamus. He just starts beating the guy. This reminded me of Andre the Giant just trying to whip the shit out of Big John Studd and Big John Studd just running away. That's what these guys were doing to each other. They were just putting beatings on one another. I'm surprised one of them didn't just flee the scene.
Yeah, and I know before this too, I was thinking, man, that's kind of going to be stale. I'm kind of sick of these guys working together. Boy, was I wrong.
No, this was 5+ stars for sure. This was, to me, the match of WrestleMania for sure.
Hell yeah.
This match. Rhea and Charlotte was great, but this one was just and it was a certain kind of match, but I just thought you can isolate so many moments where people are just beating the shit out of each other, And it happens so often.
You don't see it that much anymore either. It's just with these guys, so that's good.
And it's these same guys are just beating on each other over and over. How do they have any strength left in their hands to continue the chops,
Good question.
Gunther, like I said, power bombs everybody. At the end of the match, the commentary team is on their feet clapping for this match. So... Well, and it was worthy of that, in my opinion.
It had to be. I mean, it had to be.
So I don't.
It's too good. Those kind of brawling, you don't see those that often. So when you do, it's amazing. And then especially when they're also very talented. So I can agree with you on that, definitely.
So hard match to follow for sure. You know, match of the year candidate here between Gunther, Sheamus, and McIntyre. But Bianca and Asuka were next, and I thought they actually did a great job of not succumbing to that blow-off spot or whatever where there's a great match and everybody kind of needs a minute to collect themselves.
Yeah.
These two had another great match as well, Bianca and Asuka. So great match between these two. Asuka hit a code breaker that Bianca kicked out of. Asuka went to use the mist. Bianca got out of the way. Asuka countered into a nice armbar.
Oh, yeah.
Bianca turned it into a KOD. She kind of picked up Asuka in the armbar for the KOD, which was good. And Bianca won with the KOD to retain the Raw Women's title. Won at WrestleMania, retained at WrestleMania.
And that's how you make a championship feel legitimate. So, hell yeah.
Yeah, Bianca's great. I thought she deserved to win. They could have obviously gone with Asuka. A year is a long time to be champion, especially when you're going literally from Mania to Mania here.
Yeah.
So Asuka, a win from Asuka wouldn't have been a terrible idea. Wouldn't have been the worst decision WWE's ever made. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a little ahead of myself in my notes. Yes. So this was a great match. A year strong for Bianca. And I say, at this point, you got to try to find somebody for Bianca, right?
Yes.
You got to try to find something, whatever it is, whether it's somebody new, could be somebody new. I don't know. I mean, it could be, Roxanne Perez, right? Like it could be somebody we haven't seen yet that has to come along and beat Bianca. But I recommend they just keep checking people off of this list for Bianca to beat. I still think she should go through and beat all the 4 horsewomen, one by one in these big matches.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, you're right. Cause you have to, I like that you don't just take the belt off of someone because it's been a long time. You got to heat somebody up. Someone has to feel like they could win or they should win. So don't just take the belt off someone because they've had it for a year, unless it makes sense.
So yes, just a great performance by Bianca. This one, she's just so good. It's hard to explain. She's just so good. So talented. So next up, the Miz versus Shane McMahon. Did you have this one on your run sheet going into WrestleMania?
The format.
Yeah. Did you? This must have been a new format that got sent out quickly here because yes, folks, we got The Miz versus Shane O'Mac at WrestleMania 39. So this one's going to require some explaining, I think, right?
Yeah. So
when was the last time we saw Shane McMahon? I believe it was the Royal Rumble 2022 when I believe it was it his music that played incorrectly or was it Randy Orton's music that played? I think it was Shane's music that played and Randy Orton was laughing about it.
Yes.
And Shane had to go out there into the Royal Rumble match. Yeah. And then he was also behind the scenes heavily responsible for that infamous Rumble. So then he ended up getting fired by his dad.
Yep.
Right?
Great job.
So Snoop and The Miz are back out, folks. Snoop says The Miz should have another match like he did the night before. And then we hear the infamous, "Here comes the money." And yeah. So the match lasted about 10 seconds, folks. Spoiler, Shane O'Mac comes out, does his little shuffle, no problems there, makes it down the ramp, no problems there. He gets in the ring. He basically just says, thank you for the reception. He's kind of out of breath already, Shane. He's blown up, for sure. But that wouldn't be the worst of his problems because literally the match starts. Shane twists his leg and hits the mat. And that's that, folks. Injury. He's done. He's out. Tore his quad, blew his quad, whatever. It just looked brutal and painful. And they had to get Shane out of there pretty quickly. So I didn't realize this watching it the first time, but on the rewatch, you could hear that referee tell Snoop Dogg to deliver a people's elbow about 6 or 7 times. So
I gotta rewatch that. I gotta see that.
It's crazy how often, because once you hear it, you just keep hearing, why are they saying, well, it's like, so the Miz, he's like standing there, and it's always interesting when these guys have to call an audible, which there would be later as well with Finn Balor, when there's this moment of what are we doing, you know? Mm-hmm. And so Shane is done. They like get the doctor in there, they roll him out, and then Snoop comes back in the ring, and you hear the ref go, "People's elbow, Snoop." And Snoop's kind of like walking around. He kept his composure. Snoop Dogg did a great job here, folks.
Oh, yeah.
This was definitely better than his match in AEW. This is definitely probably the best Snoop Dogg match that he's ever had.
Say so, yeah.
So he was just a total pro here. He was able to knock out The Miz, basically drop The Miz with a punch. All the while, this referee is just repeating. Just turn your volume up a little bit on this match. People's elbow, Snoop. Snoop, people's elbow. First of all, how do you know that Snoop is going to understand that you want him to give The Miz a freaking people's elbow?
Yeah.
Like, you're calling an audible, and I get that. And you got to just, but people's elbow? I mean, really what you should do is, like, call Snoop over to the corner and say, like, hey, this is what we got to do. Break it down. You're just repeating people's elbow to Snoop. Like, what if Snoop was confused? What if he thought that maybe The Miz was going to give him the people's elbow? How do we set this up?
Yeah, you know?
Right. But no, total pro. He drops The Miz, kicks those hands, those arms in. He acts like he's going to pull off his shoulder pad like The Rock, takes his probably super expensive sunglasses, tosses them. Then we get a people's elbow from Snoop Dogg onto The Miz, and he pins The Miz. And the winner of the match between The Miz and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania was Snoop Dogg.
I mean, I love it. I know it's kind of like a chaotic thing, and Shane McMahon will probably never be on wrestling ever again because of that. But I like how it happened. And then Snoop does the people's elbow. It's so weird, but it's good. I love it. The Miz just sits there like a moron that he is and just takes it.
People's elbow, Snoop. People's elbow, Snoop. People's elbow, Snoop. People's elbow. People's elbow? We're doing the people's elbow. It's like, okay, I fucking heard you. So, yeah, this was a thing that happened. Shane McMahon legitimately injured. You're right. Probably won't be seeing him again. Ever.
Can you imagine how the guy falls, Steve Blackman hits him off like a 150-foot drop and he's fine. All the stuff he does, Kurt Angle suplexing him through like a glass plane, a plane of glass, all the stuff he's done. And he just does a leapfrog and his like wrestling career is over.
Yeah, you had the SummerSlam, Steve Blackman, giant bump. Obviously the Kurt Angle, like you just mentioned, suplex through the glass. That match was crazy.
The Hell in a Cell?
What was the other big bump, though? The huge bump from Shane. Was it the other Blackman? Was it Backlash? It was some other bump where he was at the top of the arena and went all the way to the bottom. He did it twice, I believe. It's like the Big Show or something.
Sounds about right. The Big Show sounds right, yeah.
Then we had the WrestleMania Hell in a Cell match against The Undertaker. Big bump there. None of these things took out Shane McMahon, but a little juking and jiving did.
That's what it was, yep.
Right. You gotta feel bad for him. I mean, he comes out here, he's just trying to get a little pop. He's just trying to have a moment with the fans. I mean, who knows what they actually had planned, right? But we didn't get to see that.
Guy's doing shooting star presses perfectly, and he can't do a leapfrog.
Coast to coast.
Yeah.
Man. Didn't he wrestle like AJ Styles at WrestleMania?
Yes, he did.
What an arc. What a story arc. So next up, we got the Hell in a Cell match. Edge versus the Demon Finn Balor. This one was interesting. They're showing all of this stuff on the entrance, the screens, and I'm like, is this The Undertaker? And no, it was actually the Russell Crowe movie, The Pope's Exorcist.
Oh, yeah.
Because midway through this turned into a movie trailer. And I was like, what? What's happening? But yes, Russell Crowe introducing this match, giving us a little video about demons.
Good touch.
Yeah. So it wasn't Stone Cold dressing up as Gladiator here at this year's WrestleMania Goes Hollywood. It was Russell Crowe delivering us an intro to the wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
So Edge came out with a real deal Burning Man festival mask on that you can buy for like $600 online. This glowing glass mask that he wore. What did you think of Edge's? Yeah. What did you think of Edge's Brood-like entrance? It didn't really remind me of the Brood whatsoever.
No, not at all. And then they called him Brood Edge. That was weird. I didn't like that either.
Weirdest thing.
Don't
Brood
do that.
Edge. What are we doing? What are we doing? So,
but you gotta have a cool entrance at WrestleMania. So whatever.
Like, we know Edge was in the Brood. We know his name is Edge. You know, the Brood Edge came out with some weird Jeepers Creepers wings and, like I said, a Burning Man festival mask on. And then we got the Demon came out with like a spiked mohawk, some purple canisters of smoke. It wasn't bad. There was like a slow-mo camera of the Demon coming down. He actually looked like he was at Burning Man during his entrance. A lot of Burning Man vibes. So then they were back to the old cell, which was great. The gray cell. The normal Hell in a Cell.
Yes. Perfect.
So definitely an upgrade here. Back to the gray cell. Lots of weapons in this match. We had some kendo sticks. Balor blasted Edge through a table with a double stomp, and the table like just collapses right on Edge. So midway through this one, Edge throws a ladder at Finn Balor's head and seriously busts him open. Like, I saw the photo of the gash online. This thing was gigantic. This gash on his head looked like it was painted by the same makeup artist who put the giant mouth on his chest.
Oh,
this gash was like serious. It was big. I'm surprised they could have, it was WrestleMania, and I know that they're not into stopping matches, but this thing was so large that they definitely could have stopped the match. I mean, if you're a Finn Balor with that type of a gash, you're feeling the wind blowing through that thing. That thing is a cavern in your skull. I mean, obviously it wasn't his actual skull, but it was so big and just wide. You know, it could have got infected, could have been bad.
Yeah.
But I guess they stapled him up right there in the ring while Sex and Hardcastle just kind of walked around the ring, flipping over the stairs and just kind of knocking stuff over and grabbing some kendo sticks. But then, yeah, we got back into it after a brief pause for Finn Balor's portal to the Upside Down that opened up on his head. So where are we here?
Sorry, you got me with that one.
Yeah. So they stapled his head right there in the ring, and they kept going. So then Edge hits a nice kill switch. Okay, folks. Edge is hitting kill switches.
Yeah.
There's dots to be connected here, but not in this match, just with that kill switch. So Edge hitting kill switches on people, like I mentioned. Edge speared a ladder in this one. Like, he just speared into the ladder. Then we got a execution off the ladder by Edge. Coup de grace from Finn Balor, which just was good because they had this camera in the cell. It was like up against the cell, but it was like I don't know if we call it a wide angle camera. It was a really good camera angle of this match. And it was almost like when they would cut a hole in the cell for the camera guy to like stick his camera in, but it was perfectly above the ring, almost like the hard camera side, but it was in the cell. So and they never really show you that side of the, they never put the camera on that side of the arena. They always show you these three sides from different angles. So they've got this camera of the match going on. And I was like, this is a great camera angle. And this is actually a good camera. It doesn't look like one of those weird gimmick cameras. It looks good. And I was just wondering, like, what do they got kind of set up there? And then you get to find out because Finn Balor goes for the coup de grace and he like stood on top of this camera. So they had to show it to you for a second, but it was like a coup de grace from like halfway up the cell. Edge moved out of the way. Finn Balor just jumped into a table like he was jumping into a pool.
It looks brutal to me. I was just like, oh my God.
So then the end came when a concerto by Edge is enough to beat Finn Balor. Edge gets the pin and beats the Demon Finn Balor inside Hell in a Cell. Thoughts on the match, Kris?
I don't like it. I mean, I like the match. You know, it was brutal. Like, oh, that wound was terrible. They did a great job, but I just don't like Finn Balor, the Demon, losing in a match like this. I know he'll just rub it off, or he'll just like it'll roll off him because it always does. But man, Edge is always going to be Edge. He's a Hall of Famer. He's great. Can Finn Balor get one important win in his life? You know?
Yeah, no, I would have gone with the Demon as well here, especially if, well, I don't know what Edge's plans are after he's now done with his feud with the Judgment Day, but I mean, if he's delivering the kill switch, to me, the writing's on the wall that, I don't know. It wouldn't take much. It wouldn't take much for Edge to, I don't know, be in a tag team match with Christian against FTR.
No, yeah.
So that's a possibility to me. But so in my opinion, Edge wins. Yes, he's a legend for sure. And he's still not at the top of his game, but he's still capable of definitely competing at a high level, right?
Absolutely.
So yes, he's still got something left in the tank. He could still go have big matches and he could still stick around if he wants to. But I just felt like, you know, the Demon definitely needed a win here, and it didn't happen. So now we've got 2 losses for the Demon. I'm not sure what the Demon really brings to the table anymore as far as being like a formidable force, you know, for the next time they bring him out.
Yeah, it's going to be a long time.
The next time the Demon comes out, he's just gonna it's gonna be Titus's return to the ring, and he's just gonna job out to Titus because Vince is booking.
Yep, book it.
So, like I said, Concerto by Edge gets the job done in that match. Then we got the Hall of Fame crew came out. Any thoughts on this year's Hall of Fame ceremony class?
It's a good class. I'm starting to like the Hall of Fame classes because it's really getting into like it's been a few years now, but they're like my era. Same thing's happening in like NBA too. Like this is like I know these people in and out, so it's good to see like Stacey Keibler and Rey Mysterio getting those bids. I mean, yeah, Andy Kaufman was way before my time, but it's good. I like seeing people that I've watched for 10 plus years getting into the Hall of Fame. It's like, man, that's their whole career almost. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, Conan was right. Everything he said about Ray was spot on. You could not it's hard to, you can't say that Rey Mysterio did not affect an entire generation of wrestlers, right?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
He was in his early 20s and he was setting the bar basically, you know? And just to keep going on and on and on and have the career that he had, it's just very few people have impacted the wrestling industry as much as Rey Mysterio. He's truly a legend, deserves his own wing of the Hall of Fame. Yeah. One of the easily the top 10 greatest wrestlers of all time. And that's really, you know, just making a really big group there. You could probably put Ray in like the top 5 or 6 wrestlers of all time, but definitely one of the best wrestlers to ever live, Rey Mysterio Jr., for sure. Great Muta, also another legend, innovator, created so many moves. You know, another person worthy of his own wing of the Hall of Fame.
Yep. And the Great Muta, he's one that I'm like going back and watching more matches of now. So that it's not like current, but at least in my mind, I keep thinking about I got to watch this Muta match. I got to see this Muta match. Going back to some WCW stuff like early, not later. And so it's good to see him. And obviously he deserves it. He's also one of the greatest of all time. So it's about time.
And Andy Kaufman has always just fascinated me. Just the little run he had in wrestling, and Jerry Lawler on the Territories, the Tales from the Territories Vice show. I think he said that what was happening around the time was Andy Kaufman was still working in Memphis, and he had to stop going to the TV tapings when he got cancer and when he got sick before he died.
Oh.
So it was really, that's when he was doing it, was right at the end there. But no, just amazing to me when you look at the Andy Kaufman stuff. He picked it up like a professional, like someone that you've watched do this 100 times. He was a heat magnet for sure. And it was like he understood that like he would get this heat from the crowd, and it was like he wanted more of it, and he was really good. And then they went on like the David Letterman show, which was just like a huge moment for wrestling, you know, when Lawler and Andy Kaufman were on the David Letterman show. And then this was one of those moments where back in the day, it was like, is this real, or was it real, or was it fake, right? When wrestling kind of goes into the mainstream, and it really did. I remember being a kid and watching, because I watched like, you know, Man on the Moon and stuff when I was a kid. I'm not old enough to have been around when Andy Kaufman was actually wrestling, but I remember thinking like, was this real? Like, did this guy really go into the wrestling business, piss off everyone, and, you know, almost get chased out? Because that's how like visceral this stuff with Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman was. And yeah, no, that was a great moment there on David Letterman. And Lawler hits him.
It's definitely one of the greatest stories in wrestling history, right? One of those angles anyone's ever done. My father, who hates wrestling, never liked it, never watched anything in his life, but never. He was even involved. He was telling me about how he thought that he was like, no, that was legit. They hated each other. He still thinks it's real to this day.
Yeah, a lot of everybody who watched it probably thinks that, because it was just too chaotic to. But that was what was great about it, was Andy Kaufman, like he like understood that, like, yes, this chaos is what we need. He was a chaotic individual, and he fit in perfectly in wrestling.
Yes, absolutely.
So there you go. And yes, Stacy Keibler, obviously a legend as well. And then anybody else go in the Hall of Fame? And then we had Tim White as well, getting the Warrior Award. Oh boy, can we retire that thing?
Probably should.
Like, who's gotten a Warrior Award that wasn't 10 times the human being that the Ultimate Warrior was? I mean, it's just, he doesn't need to have an award named after him. It's stupid. But Tim White was amazing.
Oh, yeah, he deserved to. I should have mentioned him. Yeah.
Couldn't do the stuff that Tim White used to do these days.
Oh man, that was crazy. Yeah,
just pretty dark stuff there, but I do remember it, all of it. All right, so that was that, and then we got to the main event of WrestleMania 39, where it all begins again. Oh no, wait, that was supposed to be WrestleMania 20, but it all seemed to begin again here, or did it? I don't know. It's like time is a flat circle. Just when we think that we are out of the clutches of Vince McMahon. No, I can't even say. This is one of those things where you're never going to get the right answer. You're never going to get the straight answer of, this is the question. When did this decision get made that Roman Reigns was going to retain? Okay? Because you can say, oh, we knew about it since last November. It was always the plan. You can always lie to people and say it was always the plan. Here's what I want to know. When did Cody get told the finish? Not it's up in the air, not it's could be this, it could be that. When did Cody, and thus, I mean, unless Roman just knew about it from the jump, when did Cody Rhodes get told this is the finish? Like, we've decided Roman Reigns is going to win. You know what I mean?
I would love to know, yeah.
I could see it being a few weeks ago, for sure, you know, a few weeks. But I do think, if we're speculating here, if I'm giving my opinion and my lay of the land, I do think that the reason why Roman won here, you can remove all the noise that has already come out about this, does have to do with the WWE sale. I'm not saying that it was directly Vince McMahon's decision, Vince McMahon's choice. This is a Vince booking. I'm just saying that with the impending volatility of the sale and acquisition and merger with the UFC into Endeavor, I feel like that probably played a part in keeping the belt on Roman here, because the story that they told on television was that Cody Rhodes was going into WrestleMania to win. I have no problem saying I thought Cody Rhodes was going to win. At the end of this, in my living room, when I was watching this, which we'll get to the ending, I completely disagreed with the finish of this match. So I am not going to be one of those smug people that said, yeah, haha, Roman won. You know, I am a big Roman Reigns fan. I am also a Cody fan, but I mean, I'm not a super Cody fan here. I just think in this case, Cody should have won. And to me, it's obvious. He should have won.
Absolutely. And I think the thing, it makes me, if Cody was supposed to win, and even if it was 2, 3 weeks ago, whatever, and he got told, no, you're actually going to lose. He is a pro, though, because he came out and did all the stuff that you do when you're going to win. Like, he had his family there. He gets his daughter, holds her for a little bit. Brody Lee's son is there, gives him the belt, takes his flowers. He drinks it all in. Like, he's conducting himself like this man's about to have his coronation. And then he doesn't. Crazy.
Right. So yes, Cody was definitely a pro. Like, you look for those signs, those tells of anything, whether it's they kiss the belt or they kiss the belt to fake you out, to make you think they're losing it, or someone looks a little bit like they're not on board with the plan, right? You look for any level of resentment, anything that you, even if it's just you as a viewer, just, oh, well, he looked like a little, they look like they're angry at each other. You're looking for those things, and none of that was from Cody. Cody came out here like he was about to win the main event of WrestleMania, and he acted like that going into WrestleMania, the whole thing. Really, Cody acted like his job in the lead up was to keep it cool as he is about to have the most amazing moment of his career, right? Don't blow it. That's the attitude that is almost just, stay the course, go through this, don't let the moment. This is a very big moment. It's the main event of WrestleMania. For the guy who left, bet on himself, went all in, went double or nothing, whatever, all this stuff. Now he's back. He's got the big contract. He's in the main event of WrestleMania. He played the part to a T. He didn't, like I said, he didn't seem in any way bitter. There are things we're going to talk about, I'm going to bring up here in a moment, different times throughout history where people didn't do what Cody did here, right? Yeah. But you mentioned the -1 thing. And this is where, during this entrance, this is where Cody did give us that one little, and I didn't believe it. I didn't think, because I was convinced Cody was going to win. We previewed the show. We predicted Cody. We said, we will see what a Cody Rhodes title reign looks like. A Cody Rhodes title run here. Very confident. Most people, I think everybody except like ridiculous pessimists thought that Cody was going to win. Right? Because that is the story they told you on the TV show leading up to this. There was no indicators that Roman was going to win. There was no Cody gets jumped at the last minute or Roman gets attacked at the last minute. There was never that sort of the opposite guy who's going to win looks good right before the match that they normally do. All signs pointed to Cody Rhodes winning. And you can say that was a clever way to keep people guessing, but all you did was just come up with a bad ending to this story that you say is not ending or is ending, depending on who's asking you. But in the entrance, Cody goes over, like you mentioned, to his family. He has his weight belt that he gives to Brody Lee Jr., the son of John Huber, AEW talent, -1 in the front row. This was a very touching moment, legitimately, very great moment, regardless of, whether or not Cody won. But that was the one moment where I said to myself, I don't think it's happening, but, did they, like, it looked, I asked myself in that moment, did they just tell Cody, behind the curtain that the plans have changed, pal? Like, that was the only time where it was even a glimmer of that, and I didn't even think it was the case. It just looked like that to me, but that ended up being what it was. Where
what, like his face, or just the act of giving the weight belts a -1?
Kind of the seeing his family in before the match, And I don't know, but just leading up to this, I mean, they had videos of Cody and his family, Brandy and his daughter, going around the arena. They treated Cody the same way that they would treat anybody that they are about to crown champion, like the big moment is coming up, like all of these subsequent smaller moments that happened beforehand, like walking onto the floor of WrestleMania with your family, like this is where it's going to happen. This is where the big moment's going to happen. Right. So back to the entrances. Cody, like I said, very touching moment, gives his weight belt to Brody Lee Jr. Roman comes out. He has some pianists on stage for his entrance. Crowd was heavily behind Cody.
Yeah.
During the match, just going nuts for every move from Cody. And this was a very good crowd. It was a good crowd for night one during the tag team match because this is the one story that they basically have been telling, which they've kind of divided into two stories, which is the bloodline and going up against Sami and Kevin and Cody, right? So everybody knows this is the one story at WrestleMania that has all of the twists and turns and emotions and I love you, we're brothers, and on both sides. And on night one, it was just a perfect moment, a perfect ending. And the same thing happens on night two, and it just ends. Everything was great up until the end, right? So like I said, the crowd was going nuts for every move from Cody during this match. Kind of had a slow start, but it was a great match overall.
Yeah.
But it's just, it doesn't matter. This is the same thing as the exploding barbed wire death match where Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega did have a great match, and then it ended with a dud of an explosion. This is the same thing. That's all anybody talks about. You don't talk about how great the match was. You only talk about how they missed at the end.
Yeah.
So, just in the match, Cody puts Roman through the announce table. This is kind of when things really picked up in the match, right? So, back in the ring, Cody Cutter gets to, Solo interferes, whips Cody with the weight belt. The ref kind of sees it, kind of doesn't. He ejects Solo from ringside, right? So this is where you kind of see the pieces starting to move. Solo, he's ejected. He's already interfered.
I like it. Cody's going to win.
We get a crossroads. Roman kicks out. A Uranagi. Cody kicks out. We got a pedigree. Roman kicks out. What a journey Cody using the pedigree has been, hasn't it? To the point where he's hitting a pedigree in the main event of WrestleMania. They've gotten a lot out of Cody using the pedigree, I will say. I mean, Cody has.
Yes.
So, pedigree, like I said, Roman kicks out. Superman punch. Cody kicks out. Figure four from Cody. Roman reverses it. Spear. Cody kicks out. Guillotine by Roman, which I'm pretty sure Michael Cole did call a guillotine. Which I'll give him a pass. It's been a long 2 nights.
You decided.
Cody breaks free of the guillotine. The Usos are out. They start beating up Cody. The new champs, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, rush in to fend off the Usos. Crowd goes nuts for the baby faces.
Yes.
These guys came out like they knew what their job was. And the crowd knew it too. Get rid of the Usos so Cody can win this match. Even the odds.
Correct.
And then they didn't just get rid of the Usos, okay? Owens stuns Roman Reigns. Sami Zayn delivers a haluva kick to Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania. Cody pins Roman, only gets 2. They fight on. Okay, this was fine because for me, this still served the purpose of getting rid of the Usos, getting rid of the last people of the bloodline, because you're just going to ask yourself,
yep,
if the Usos don't come out, if Solo doesn't come out or he doesn't interfere, you're just going to ask yourself why. Why wouldn't they? So in order for Cody to win, you have to beat all of the things that Roman has up his sleeve, which include his family, which include the bloodline. So like I said, not only did KO and Sami dispatch of the Usos, they also delivered their finishers to Roman. Then Cody kind of rolls over on him. I get that. You don't want the match to end on a rolling over pin. Lifeless Cody pins Roman. Roman kicks out. But the Usos are still gone, right?
Yeah, then have Cody win the match by using the crossroads or something. You know, that have him use his finishing move to win. I'm okay with that. So I'm still thinking right now, Cody's winning.
Cody with some Dusty Rhodes jabs and a bionic elbow and a crossroads. And then another crossroads. Paul Heyman distracts the referee. Solo is back, delivers a Samoan spike to Cody in the corner. Roman spears Cody, gets the 1, 2, 3. Crowd is stunned. So Corey Graves says, I know we are in Hollywood, but that does not guarantee a happy ending. Very true, Corey. So WrestleMania ends with Roman Reigns holding up both title belts. The fireworks go off. Cody is in the ring, disappointed. I cannot believe that they did this. Cody should have won. This was what they built the entire story to. This is what the story of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns ended with. Just did the Batista thumbs down, where he puts thumbs up. Thumbs up and then thumbs down.
Nice.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Smiling. Then the thumb is still up. And then the smile goes away. You know what comes next. The thumbs down.
That's right.
I give this a thumbs down. I give this 2 thumbs down. So this was a terrible ending, the worst possible ending. This was the worst possible ending I think I've ever seen. This was the dumbest ending I've ever seen in a wrestling match. They completely missed it. Missed WWE.
Yeah.
Just a complete miss. And we'll go through the stuff that they said about it. At the end of the day, you can talk about how much money you make. You can talk about how successful WrestleMania was. You can talk about how successful the Raw after Mania was. You can talk about how much your company is worth, how many millions of dollars of bonuses people like Mr. Helmsley and Mr. Khan are going to get. But you told a story and you fucked up the end. That's what you did. So make all the money. We all sat through it, but what the fact that will never change is that you guys fucked up the end of this. That's the fact that you cannot change with any amount of money, because all you had to do is make Cody Rhodes pin Roman Reigns, and this would have been one of the best stories WWE has ever told. But no.
As this is way more serious or like more impactful, but I mean, remember when Lex Luger didn't win the world title and he just went away into nothingness because Vince it got leaked that Lex was going to win at WrestleMania, so Vince didn't like that. And then Lex Luger became nothing, and the story went nowhere. And I'm not saying Lex is a big star, and he's not biggest star as Cody Rhodes, but you would have had somebody in the main event picture. That was a huge moment.
Well, he never made it back. He never made it back to that moment.
And Lex Luger's whole career is just a guy who could never make it in the moment, really. He has that one win against Hogan on Nitro. That didn't last very long. That's it. And it's just... So even if Cody wins at SummerSlam, right? Even if that's the story, whatever. Even if he wins next year at WrestleMania, it's not going to be as good as this because the crescendo was here.
Right. So the only story that they told was Cody beating Roman, right? Roman wasn't even, one of the criticisms I had of the build was that Roman wasn't a part of it enough. It was Cody standing there. Cody standing there opposite Paul Heyman. Cody standing there opposite the Usos, opposite Solo Sikoa. And he not opposite Roman Reigns, the person he's facing. But the entire story was Cody's story. He won the Royal Rumble. He came back from an injury to win the Royal Rumble. He was the top babyface in the company. I don't know if he's the exact top merch seller, but he's one of them. He is basically doing very good business at house shows. So Cody is drawing houses, selling merch. He's like the top baby face, obviously aside from Sami Zayn. Cody even said when he re-signed with WWE, when he was doing the media rounds after his return at last year's WrestleMania, which is a part of this as well, this Cody story that was told, which is you make your surprise, triumphant return, the American Nightmare, the character that you developed, you walk in to WrestleMania with your theme song. He comes back at last year's WrestleMania. When he's doing these media rounds, he talks about how they flew down there. Vince McMahon flew to Cody to sign him. And then Cody mentioned that he was just hearing them out, and then he heard the pitch that they gave him. And I'm not saying that it was in his contract that he was supposed to win. I don't think that they do that they put it in your contract that you're going to win this or that. I mean, a lot of people have had creative control over the years, but this ending goes into a bucket of endings that are sort of what if this happened? This is that version. So what was this pitch that won Cody over to leave the company that he started, that all of his training partners and prospects and friends worked at? What was the pitch? You're going to lose to Roman at WrestleMania? What a great pitch. That's why I don't buy that this was the original plan, because this is not the story they told. And you can say that you swerved people, you keep people guessing. That's great. People guessed that this was going to have a good ending. That's where you kept people guessing. They guessed that it was going to have a decent ending, and they guessed wrong. We all guessed wrong, right? Because so this match is if the Montreal Screwjob, if Bret Hart did not have creative control, they had to do the Montreal Screwjob because he wouldn't agree, right? This match is Hollywood Hogan at Bash at the Beach 2000 if he just agreed to go out there, right? These are people who stood up and said, that doesn't work for me, brother. Literally, that's what Hogan said. And Bret Hart, obviously, if you watch Wrestling with Shadows, went back and forth with Vince McMahon about why he didn't want to lose at that time. Hogan, Bash at the Beach, he didn't want to lose at that time, right? Because sometimes it is the wrong decision. Sometimes Steve Austin, he took his ball and went home, remember? Because he didn't want to lose to Brock Lesnar on a Raw, right?
Yep.
So credit to Cody for going through with this story. He played his part for sure. But think about if Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14 did not beat Shawn Michaels, and they just gave you some excuse about how whenever he does win, it's going to be even bigger. It's like, no, you have Mike Tyson here now. You have this rabid crowd here now. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin's time. You have Shawn Michaels. He's on his way out. You need to put the belt on Austin, right? This is Daniel Bryan, this is Batista winning at WrestleMania 30, right?
Yeah.
Because this is, the crowd is chanting for Daniel Bryan. 80,000 people screaming, yes. And then he loses. Imagine that. That's what this was. It was time for Roman to lose that belt. Like, it's, even if you give it back to him in a month, in 2 months, whatever, put it on somebody else. Just like you blew the moment with Drew McIntyre last year at Clash at the Castle, just like you totally blew the moment with Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber in Montreal.
Yep.
You have now blown the moment of Cody Rhodes being the WWE champion. It's over. It's gone. The next one won't be as good. Opportunity only knocks every so often. This was the moment. Just like with Sammy, that was Sammy's moment. You're not getting these moments back.
He can lose. Let's make other people superstars, like big time stars. How about that?
And then Paul Heyman was talking about how, I believe it was in an interview with Ariel, about Cody's redemption. And now we get to see the redemption of Cody Rhodes. What does Cody need to redeem himself for? He had the match won. The ending was that Solo came back out for a second round of interference. What does Cody need to redeem himself? He hit, everybody's finisher got hit on Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
There's no redemption. He had the match won. And then Roman continued to, you just brought Solo out again, you know? So the idea that this is somehow Cody's redemption, and whether it's at SummerSlam or WrestleMania next year, he's going to win then. Okay, great. Doesn't matter. This was the moment. You can do all that stuff at SummerSlam, at WrestleMania next year. This was the moment. This was the biggest possible moment for Cody, for anybody that was in this position. If Cody won, people would have just got sick of him. I think we might have even said people are going to get sick of Cody.
Sure.
But that's because people get sick of everyone. People will get sick of Roman Reigns. People will get sick of Jon Moxley. People will get sick of John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Triple H, all these guys that people have inevitably gotten sick of, and WWE just kept him winning.
Paul Heyman is the carniest of all carnies. I love him. He's the greatest wrestling mind ever to live, in my opinion, right? But he is lying. The redemption that is fed to him, and he's being a good company man, because Cody's redemption was him leaving and coming back and winning. Then he's redeemed. There's no redemption now.
Exactly. Yes, he is saying the line that he needs to say, just like he's doing promoters talk. This is all kayfabe stuff.
Yep.
But this is the problem, is that now when it goes into the media, it's kind of like, oh, well, this was, trust me, it's going to be even bigger. No, you're just trying to get to the next town. That's all you're trying to do. Yeah. You're just trying to keep it going. You're putting off something that you're never actually going to do, because no one can guarantee what the future holds. No one can guarantee that Cody's not going to become boring, cool off. They're going to pick somebody else. So they're saying it's all about Cody's redemption. And then Triple H is saying, well, tomorrow night on Raw, the Raw after Mania, boo-ba-doo, the story keeps going. Well, what? Just with Cody on the Raw after Mania, what happened? Did the story keep going with Cody? Or did a completely different story start with Cody on the Raw after Mania?
And you know what the problem is, too? For me, the biggest gripe was Cody should have won the title, and the story should have been the same. Brock should be his first opponent, and Cody should beat Brock as the champion. I think that's perfect.
Yes. This was just someone got cold feet whenever it was. I don't think it was a controversial, the day of the show, Cody's amped up to win, and they got to go tell him, hey, Cody, guess what? We got to talk. I don't think that's what happened. I think however long they knew about this, that's fine. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. There was no way this was the plan the whole time. Yeah. Some people like it. Some people don't. It's just chocolate or vanilla. It's just chocolate or vanilla if you have the chocolate or you have the vanilla that you threw on the floor and then scraped back into the bowl. That's the chocolate and vanilla here.
Yeah. Everybody loves vanilla. They want it the whole time, and everything is saying, yeah, we're going to give you vanilla. Don't worry. And then you just get chocolate.
Hey, you wanted chocolate? We gave you vanilla. It's just like, oh, we pulled another fast one on you. It's so at this, I literally started laughing when Roman won, because like the moment or two before, you're like, this is a math problem. Solo's back out here, Simone Spike. There's no one left for Cody to come out and to defend Cody, right? And then the spear happens so quick, Roman's pinning Cody. In that second, you're like, they're doing this, And then it happens. I had that out of body experience that like naive wrestling fans have, where you're like, no, they're gonna undo this.
Yep.
For like 1 second, and then I thought, no, it's not. This isn't. When everyone's like, oh, they're gonna undo this, and then it just never happens, and then you get the little thing on the bottom of the screen, and you're like, wow, I guess that's it. This was just. I thought for 1 split second, like, just running through every possible combination, like, could they undo this? No, they're not. That's it. This is what we're getting. Roman Reigns wins.
I was thinking to myself, I thought Roman was going to keep winning, but I kept thinking, like, oh, someone's going to come down. Like, someone's going to come down and beat Roman while his back's turned, holding the belts up to help Cody, and then we'll go that way. And then when Solo Sikoa came out the second time, at first I thought, oh, is that like Jay White? Is he gonna and that's how Roman's gonna win? And then we go to Jay White, Cody Rhodes. So that's kind of huge, right? No, nothing. He's just winning.
This is like Game of Thrones. A lot of people were dissatisfied with how the show Game of Thrones ended. I watched the series finale, because that's what this equivalent is a series finale. You could say the story keeps going, boo-ba-doo, all you want, boo-ba-doo. But this was as close to a series finale as this is going to get, right? Because it's WrestleMania, it's the end of a story, it's the big moment, whatever. And you can also conversely say it's a season premiere or something like that, because it's also the beginning of something for whoever wins. But generally speaking, you can compare these to a season finale of a show or a series finale of a show, right? So I only watched that series finale of Game of Thrones once, because I didn't like it. I don't need to watch it again. Like, I'm a super Star Wars fan. I only watched the Rise of Skywalker the one time because I didn't like it, Yeah. So, but granted, I still watch Star Wars. I still watch The Mandalorian. I'll still watch the next Star Wars movie that comes out. And with Game of Thrones, I still watched House of the Dragon, right? But what matters is that you have these crucial moments in a story, and you just did the wrong thing. It's like you could say, oh, well, our story's bigger. I, for one, don't even believe that, but even taking that at face value, well, your bigger story sucks because this should have happened at this part of the story.
Yep.
So, yeah, so with like the Game of Thrones comparison, this is just the wrong person sitting on the throne at the end. And it does ultimately ruin the story you've told to a certain degree because it tinges the end where you can say, I love Game of Thrones. I am going to go rewatch Game of Thrones because it was my favorite show. But it just gets worse because at the end it was a sucky ending. Just like every season or series finale of a big show, whether it was like Breaking Bad, show I watched, The Sopranos. Go back to how The Sopranos ended, okay? They could have done something totally stupid, and it was a controversial ending. Like somebody walks into the restaurant where the Soprano family is. You don't know, is Tony Soprano about to die? Is his family about to die? Is the guy, what's going to happen? They just go cut to black. Controversial ending. Doesn't exactly tell you what happened next. You're left to decide for yourself. But this is The Sopranos where whatever you don't want Tony Soprano to do, it's like the least fulfilling outcome for Tony Soprano. That's what this is. All you did was take away the fulfilling end of a story. That's all you did. And you could say it was in service of something for the future, but guess what? That doesn't matter because and this is why it doesn't matter. Cody could win at Backlash. Cody could have won on Raw. Obviously, if Cody wins on Raw, that is just screwing over the fans who paid for a ticket at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
But even at Backlash, you're still kind of screwing over the fans because why would you say that this is the biggest show and then something important happens at the biggest show right after? But if ever Cody wins in the future, which I'm not confident he ever will, because think about the narrative from WWE regarding the sale of the company and Vince's position in creative. They were never telling the truth. And I don't mean being forthcoming with private company information. Like Vince McMahon is coming back to facilitate the sale of the company. Well, he facilitated the sale, and now the new company, he's running it. He's back in Gorilla on Raw. He's back in a position of power after the talent meeting that Fightful Select reported where Triple H told everybody that nothing was changing, that he was in charge of creative. So it's the same thing when they're trying to come up with an excuse for why this happened on screen in the story with Roman and Cody. Whatever reason they have, it's just to get to the next step. It's not that the long-term vision, Roman has been champion for long enough, And the other component to this this is purely, I hadn't even considered this until my wife pointed out to me was Cody ever gonna win? Like, did they actually promise him that? Sort of not in the contract. I'm not one of those people who says it's in the contract. But did they ever? You can promise people things that are not in the contract. It can be, it's not legally binding, but this is like a kayfabe wrestling world. What are you going to promise them? Their finisher is going to be protected. Like, you can just. It's still the plan, right? So people still have to have a plan in mind when they go to work. And you can't just be inherently dishonest with what they're going to be doing all day. So you have this idea where you're giving people the plan. Was the plan ever for Cody to win later? Like, is that the plan? Because that might change too. What happens if that changes? There have been plenty of times, like you mentioned, Lex Luger, where if you don't strike while the iron is hot, you don't get a second go around at that. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that these crowds are ever going to be as hot as Sami Zayn in Montreal for Sami, right? For really anybody. And then also now basically like for Cody going into WrestleMania, right? Especially during the match.
Especially now too with how the creative might be handled. It's all over. Another thing, it's classic Vince McMahon though. It's like it's telling Bret Hart to like Hogan's gonna win the title at WrestleMania 9, but you're gonna get him at SummerSlam, and then July comes and it's like actually that's not happening. Sorry,
right?
I never said that. Or what do you mean? It's just the same stuff,
right? yeah, so many comparisons that we could make, but just overall, wrong move. Wrong move. You ruin the end of WrestleMania. And so it's just the beginning of this kind of stuff, I think, because after WrestleMania, after Roman Reigns retained, we get the Raw after Mania, the most exciting night of the year, where who knows what could happen, returns, debuts, chaos could ensue. The Raw after Mania, that rabid WrestleMania crowd for one last night before they all fly home back to their lives, the ones who stuck around, the true diehards in the crowd with their beach balls and their Cesaro signs. No. So the Raw after Mania this year was another dud. It earned the nickname #worst Raw ever.
Yeah.
Because for exciting things that we got on the Raw after Mania, we got the return of Matt Riddle, and that was it. And no debuts or NXT call-ups, no Braun Breaker on the Raw after Mania. Nobody.
Just nothing. Just the same old. Could have been a Raw in September in Sheboygan. Doesn't mean anything.
So the show, we're not going to go through the whole Raw after Mania, but there were numerous reports online that the production crew was getting scripts sent to them 3 times over throughout the show. Who does that sound like? The reports were that Vince McMahon was in the gorilla position, manning the headset, running the show. We had Cody and Roman in the opening segment, and Cody starts off by saying, why don't we have a rematch tonight? Which not doing that is such a Vince McMahon thing. Saying, why don't we do a rematch? Yeah! Oh, but we're not going to do it, though. Right? Yep. So then, okay, well, how about a tag match? Okay, great. You just amped up the crowd for a rematch for a championship. Maybe you'll actually win. Oh, now we're supposed to get excited about, well, how about a tag match? Can I at least get a tag match? And then Brock comes out, and he's manhandling Cody, bullying Cody with this jovial, overly nice guy persona. Brock's going to be Cody's partner. Then throughout the show, chaos ensues. Bayley is nowhere to be found on screen with Damage Control. They had canceled, according to Fightful, I believe, they had canceled 2 women's triple threat matches that were going to lead to number 1 contenders matches for the Raw women's title. Seth Rollins gets whatever his planned segment was pulled while he's in the ring. He walks out, and then during the commercial, the segment gets canceled. Collapsible segment. You're already in the ring. Collapsible.
Insane. God, insane.
So then what else happened at the Raw after Mania? We had Seth Rollins, the Bayley thing, the run sheets were changing. We had, before we got to the end, what else was there? Oh, Bray Wyatt. Somebody had put online that Bray Wyatt said that there was something about how he was going to be at Raw. No mention of Bray Wyatt. Nothing there with Bray Wyatt. He didn't make his return. Uncle Howdy's still missing in action. And at the end of the show, what did we get? An advertised main event that did not happen. We got Brock Lesnar turning on Cody, beating up Cody, leaving him laying.
Cool.
And now this is apparently going to be the next feud for Cody, which is Brock Lesnar, which, like you said, would have been fine if Cody was the newly crowned WWE Universal Champion and Lesnar was sticking around to do a program with Cody. But, hey, the story keeps going. The story continues, right? He was supposed to, finish the story. How could you finish the story if I never give you the book? Nope. They didn't give me the book. They didn't give me the pen. They didn't give me the pencil. I had a pencil. Vince took it. We'll
see. I mean, did you read the reports too that everyone's just waiting to see if Vince is going to be there tomorrow for SmackDown? And if he's there in the same gorilla position with an office, then he's back. So I'm waiting for that too. Triple H has an announcement tomorrow addressing the WWE Universe. Who knows what that's going to be? Who cares? I mean, honestly.
Which he said that, which Vince said on the what was he? It wasn't on CNBC. He was on ESPN, or was he on CNBC? Maybe he was on CNBC on
CNBC, yeah.
Sunday morning. Vince is on TV now. The accused, Vince McMahon here, is on television, and he was saying how I can't be in the weeds anymore. Blah, blah, blah. Total work. He's working everybody. I can't be in the weeds anymore. I just want to know what Candice LeRae's colors of her boots are, but I can't be in the weeds. But I need to dictate every step of what happens next.
I think it was Sean Ross Sapp who tweeted that when Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff took over a few years ago too, Vince said, "I'm not going to be in the weeds anymore." It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, back when he was relinquishing control to Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. They're going to run things.
And what was that, like Bischoff was there for like 3 weeks and Paul Heyman was there for like 3 months? Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, we have all been worked, obviously, by the god-tier grifter that is evil Vince McMahon, and the Raw after Mania did suck. So, WWE, folks, officially, we had a glimmer of hope. We had a few months where Triple H is in charge. Vince McMahon is finally gone. Remember saying that? Man, we bought that stuff hook, line, and sinker. Oh man, he's just gonna retire after all these allegations. He's just gonna retire. That's it. Well, for one, he didn't even retire because he's back running the show now. So WWE programming is guaranteed back to the worst Vince McMahon era, where the show is getting changed on the fly. Omos allegedly was in catering and had to be told he had a match coming up. They're pulling Bayley from a segment with her partners. Seth Rollins is in the ring. This does not inspire hope for the future. And I wish the best for Conference Call Paul. But yeah, so that was WrestleMania 39. Overall, a great WrestleMania. Night 2 was not as good as night 1. It was snake bit a little bit between the Finn Balor thing and the Shane McMahon thing, and then worst. It's not the worst. Is it the worst? Because the match was so good. That's how it's hard for me to quantify and qualify this main event. The match was so good. It's like they did a math problem and then they just got the answer wrong. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. You did all this stuff to build up all these Cody Cutters and Uranagis and the Usos and Kevin Owens and a haluva kick and a stunner to Roman, just for Roman to win with a spear after Solo came in with a Samoan spike.
Yeah.
I did appreciate Roman's face, like, as they're leaving. It's just like, what did you think was going to happen? It's like, well, from that guy's perspective, I guess you're right. But yes, no, I do think personally that they wanted to just keep their current champion. That is the Vince MO, is just don't change anything. Stick with the status quo if the status quo is what you had wanted, right? Don't go with the new guy, so to speak. Especially if that guy came over from AEW, maybe.
That's right.
Yikes. But yes, there's a lot of questions I still have about the backstage stuff, because the stuff we are getting on screen is part of the show, guys. But yes, that was WrestleMania 39. We have been talking for quite a while. We talked about the WWE sale, which, like I said, we will inevitably talk more about as we look ahead at what the new WWE will look like. I mean, this thing could change dramatically. I do think that things are going to change quite a bit with the new WWE under the new company, and I don't think it's going to be good for the talent or the fans, if I had to say, make a long story short. So I'm probably going to take next Monday off. I'm going to do what Roman Reigns should have done and took Monday off after losing the title. But yes, I think my Mondays might have just gotten freed up. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about on the next episode now that we are through with WrestleMania week. A lot of stuff from WrestleMania week. Did you see that? Canadian Destroyer from Pentagon that destroyed Dante Martin's foot at Ring of Honor?
No, so I'm not gonna watch it. I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, did you see Shibata won the pure title from Daniel Garcia at Ring of Honor as well?
I like it. Who would have thought?
Yeah. So we're gonna get back into
out of his head.
Yeah, we're going to get back into the AEW stuff on the next episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. AEW has some big news. They're going to London, and FTR is staying in AEW. What timing that AEW tag team match had, though, right? They were teasing that FTR had made a decision about their future, and they might sign with AEW, they might go somewhere else. Well, are you going to go back to the company where the guy wanted to dress you up like the Keebler Elves? The decision, that may have been a decision that they changed in Gorilla. If they were thinking about going back to WWE after witnessing what Vince McMahon was able to wreak havoc on all weekend. If you're FTR, who are obviously now staying with AEW, you got to think you made the right decision. So just like the story ends, oh-ba-dope, the story keeps going, oh-ba-dope. Thank you for hitting that play button. But yes, thank you for hitting that play button. Thank you for sticking with us. We appreciate you here as always. We hope you enjoyed our WrestleMania preview and review. Folks, we're just getting started here. There's going to be so much to talk about with this new WWE, this brave new world we're going into where Vince McMahon is in charge of WWE. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? But yes, that about does it for this episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Be kind, like, and subscribe. And what does this button do?
I'm not the biggest fan of sports entertainment, but that was pretty entertaining.
There's people in there! There's people in there! You want to make big money, you got to do big boy shit, you know?
He may need attention.